So we got this bamboo ceiling panel from Amazon. It comes in an 8-foot roll for about 50 or 60 bucks. I can't remember, but we had some leftovers and some extra. So we used that in a few other areas. So it looks really cool to enhance, an accent wall or certain area in the kitchen that we use it for. But I wanted to show you, kind of what tips that I would recommend after putting this up. Now, first glance, you think, okay, I can just put this up and it's going to be pretty easy, especially if you just have some help, right? Well, not exactly, because this thing is kind of flimsy. So you have to hold it up and have help. And this is a small bathroom, so you're gonna get in each other's way, and you're trying to hold heavy tools up to mount it and measure everything correctly. So it does get a little frustrating at first, but once you figure out a way to overcome some of those obstacles, it's not too bad. So what I would do differently for starters, cut it in smaller sections. Now it sucks because I wish it would have been a little more uniform. So like right here, smaller section, and we have a bigger section. Started with a big section, that didn't work very well. So we had to start smaller. So actually, well, we did that section, and then it was easier to cut it in this. But if you cut this into thirds, it would look a little more uniform, but it's fine. It still looks okay. And then as far as the install, it was a little difficult because the walls are not completely square to each other. All these walls are, they're not exactly the same. So the two walls are a little bit different from each other, and then same with these two walls. That wall's like half an inch bigger than this one. So it's just, those things you have to work with and deal with. That's why we put the trim up there to kind of cover some of that, so it looks more flush and even. So as far as the actual install itself, started using a brad nailer, and then realized, okay, it's not grabbing the material just because it's so thin. I mean, this is only like 1/8 of an inch. So I even used smaller brad nails, like 1 inch, and it still wasn't good. Or I think I did 1/2 inch and it still wasn't doing it. So found a staple gun that we had, and this was the best method because you can hold it up and it's real light to hold this. So when you have your panel up there, you can easily work with this and manipulate where you want to staple. Okay, so this is definitely the better method. And thought about putting some kind of glue or adhesive up there as well, or even initially, but then thought, okay, well, that's going to be messy. And if we ever want to take it down and try and have to sand the ceiling, it didn't seem like long-term, it might not have been the best solution. So that's the best way to do it. As far as the staples itself, then we want to hide some of those. So I got to take some of those out and put them in more conspicuous areas, more along the edges, just because they're kind of shiny and kind of see them. So that's something to consider as well. Unless you want to paint it. I mean, you could paint this a different color if you really wanted to. Give it like a shiplap look almost. But so that's something to consider. And then the stapling really worked really well. I mean, it grabbed it and it did a good job of adhering it to the ceiling. So you just gotta do it in sections and just kind of go slowly and take your time with it, because it does take time. So be patient. And then as far as cutting these, I started using a miter saw and I actually folded these over to cut them. But the hard part is, it was working for a while, but the hard part you have is that this is there's like a glue adhesive on it almost, and like a tape. This is the tape here. So the miter saw kind of got hooked on this, and just the blades didn't really react very well to that adhesive at all. So that didn't work after a while. And then I was able to cut these with an X-Acto knife and just score them. I did a short video on that. You can also probably use scissors, or if you have some heavier, maybe some landscaping scissors, or just some overall heavy duty scissors, you can try that as well. It's thin, but you have to score it a little bit, and it'll snap and break pretty flushly. So that worked out pretty well, and that's pretty much it. So I wanted to show you the last step that we use this for, right? So over here, check this out. Above the stove, put it right there. So it's kind of like an open area. So it really brings the kitchen together. So that was cool. And that's that. So stay tuned for more videos. And overall, it was a pretty easy project. Just took a little bit of time and patience. So stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.